Hello and welcome back to the Radio Book Club. Mr. McGurk has arrived.
Yay! We apologise for our music break, but we were having pictures taken for the new website blog thing.
Yes, for our fancy new Pulse website that is being renovated as we speak.
Precisely.
Or, you know, in the near future. So would you like to say hello to the listeners, Mr. McGurk?
Well, thank you for inviting me here, and it's good to be here.
You're very welcome.
Whatever here is, exactly.
It's a secret.
It's our secret headquarters.
We had a text for you earlier on asking if you really did used to be a boxer and a painter.
Well, this is pure fabrication, said in an idle moment to a music class. No, I have been neither of these things.
But in those idle moments, they stay with the students through the rest of their
really
lives.
do.
Yes, they do. I have told some terrible lies, but I have never been a boxer.
But you have been a librarian.
I have been a librarian, yes, for some 20 years.
Oh, good.
Fantastic.
So,
before we left, I believe we promised the listeners even,
yes,
getting into English mode, some McGonagall,
we did indeed.
You did.
deemed the worst poet ever. So will we go with Glasgow?
We'll
or
go
the
with
two
Glasgow.
Glasgow, this is our favourite.
It is.
Beautiful city of Glasgow, with your streets so neat and clean, your stately mansions and beautiful green. Likewise your beautiful bridges across the River Clyde, and on your bonny banks I would like to reside. Then away to the west, to the beautiful west, to the fair city of Glasgow that I like the best, where the River Clyde rolls on to the sea, and the lark and the blackbirds whistle with glee. 'Tis beautiful to see the ships passing to and fro, laden with goods for the high and the low. So let the beautiful city of Glasgow flourish, and may the inhabitants always have food for their bodies
to nourish.
to nourish.
That's my favourite
That
line.
is just my favourite line of all. The statue of the Prince of Orange is very grand, looking terror to the foe with a truncheon in his hand, and well mounted on a noble steed which stands in the Trongate, and holding up his foreleg. I'm sure it looks first rate. Then
That's
there's
my
a
favourite
Duke-
line.
It is. Then there's a Duke of Wellington statue in Royal Exchange Square. It is a beautiful square, I without fear declare. But besides inspiring and most magnificent to view, because he made the French fly at the Battle of Waterloo. Oh yeah,
That is some
Like what you did there.
skillful rhyming.
it's fantastic.
And as for the Sir Walter Scott that stands in George Square, it is a handsome statue, few with it can compare, and most elegant to be seen, and close beside it stands the statue of Her Majesty the Queen. And then there's the statue of Robert Burns in George Square, and the treatment he received when living was very unfair. Now when he's dead, Scotland's son for him do mourn, but alas unto them he can never return.
Being dead.
Then as for Kelvin Grove, it is most lovely to be seen, with the beautiful flowers and trees so green, and magnificent water fountain spouting up very high, where the people can quench their thirst when they feel dry. Beautiful city of Glasgow, I now conclude my muse, and to write in praise of thee by pen does not refuse. And without fear of contradiction, I will venture to say, you're the second grandest city in Scotland at the present day. Second? Really? After that, we were the second.
After that moving poem.
That was moving.
Awful.
Well,
I think you're being hard on him. He was a poor soul at the end. He tried to get in to see Queen Victoria and she wouldn't let him in.
Aww. We have 3 in your text. One saying, "Hi, Mr. McGurk." The second saying... The second asking, what was your favourite novel at our age? That's a hard one.
That's very, very... Can I think about that and come back to you?
you
Yes.
On that? That's very... I think it was probably a Dickens novel, though.
Ah, yes.
That's more impressive than my favourite
The
novel.
last text is in reference to the McGonagall poem saying, "That's actually pretty good. This guy gets bad press."
Yeah, I agree.
I don't actually mind it, to be perfectly honest.
We
I
exaggerate for the radio.
Yes, I understand it at least. You know, there's some poems that you look at and you have to read it about 10 times before you go, right, I vaguely get it now.
At least we're putting them out there.
Yes, we are. Precisely.
His entire works can be purchased, and I recommend it.
Well, I believe the copyright's gone as well, so you can look on
Yeah.
if you don't want to buy his entire work.
Well, I have not yet reviewed a poem,
Oh, do.
so I will be discussing Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe. I was going to do The Raven, which is obviously his most famous one, to my knowledge. So I was really going to do that, but thought I'd mix it up a bit because I was just looking at his other stuff and they were quite good, being Edgar Allan Poe. So, Annabel Lee is about a man who lives with his wifey, Annabel Lee, by the sea. It begins kind of like a fairy tale. It says, "It was many and many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee." So it starts off quite whimsical and happy, but then as the poem progresses, Annabel Lee begins to die.
Okay.
And and then the end is very poignant. And so all the night tide I lie down by my side of my darling, my life and my bride, and the sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. There's also some mention that their souls can never be separated, and it's all very depressive.
Why are poems so sad?
Because those are the best ones.
we have 2 new texts, and oh wow, they're long. After 6th year, can I stay on as Mr. McGurk's apprentice? And does he think I'm an idiot? Don't actually ask him though. Sorry.
Is that text signed?
I believe it's from Rachel.
Yes, and McGonagall
Rachel
played.
can stay on.
McGonagall played Duncan in Macbeth once,
That's
but
true.
refused to die. Fantastic.
Clever man.
Okay, and we have another one saying, Mr. McGurk made up the greatest nickname ever for a boy called Aaron. Air and Sea Rescue took me years to get it. Air and Sea Rescue.
You've got to work it out.
I get it.
It's a witty nickname.
Yeah.
I'm worried about who these people are.
I think Marie will be texting in a lot.
Is it all bullshit?
You're a personal hero of hers.
Oh, dear. That is concerning.
We have one more text before we're going to hear a lovely poem, and it says, "What does Mr. McGurk think about Harry Potter being part of the required reading list for comparative literature at Glasgow?"
I think it's shameful.
Shameful.
And will we just quickly announce the text number again?
One more time. You can text us, please, on 07538 984 984. That's 07538 984 984.
So we will now have a dramatic reading of a poem by John Donne. On you go.
Okay. The poem I have chosen is called The Sun Rising. And I have chosen it because, like most of Donne's poetry, it has an energy, a boldness about it, which I think is compelling. The Sun Rising. Busy old fool, unruly sun, why dost thou thus through windows and through curtains call on us? Must to thy motions lovers' seasons run? Saucy pedantic wretch, go chide late schoolboys and sour prentices, go tell court huntsmen that the king will ride, call country aunts to harvest offices. Love all alike, no season knows, nor clime, nor hours, days, months, which are the rags of time. Thy beams, so reverend and strong, why shouldst thou think I could eclipse and cloud them with a wink, but that I would not lose her sight so long? If her eyes have not blinded thine, look, and tomorrow late tell me whether both the Indias of spice and mine be where thou left'st them, or lie here with me. Ask for those kings whom thou sawest yesterday, and thou shalt hear, all here in one bed lay. She is all states, and all princes I, nothing else is. Princes do but play us. Compared to this, all honours mimic, all wealth alchemy. Thou, son, art half as happy as we, in that the world's contracted thus. Thine age asks ease, and since thy duties be to warm the world, that's done in warming us. Shine here to us, and thou art everywhere. This bed thy centre is, these walls thy sphere.
Bravo.
That is beautiful.
I think everyone can understand why we love Advanced English so much.
Yes, exactly. We have been raving about it for many weeks past on the radio. about your poetry reading. So, is John Donne one of your favourite poets?
I think he is my favourite, without any shadow of a doubt. He has everything that attracts me to poetry. He is memorable. He is passionate. His poetry conveys a sense of excitement. It's not poetic in the sense that he employs a special vocabulary just for his poems. He uses ordinary, everyday, colloquial language, and he uses it with such force and such drama and fervour that really, if you're not touched by Donne, I think you shouldn't really bother too much about poetry. You should read McGurk.
True. So is that your favourite poem as well?
No,
by
it's
Donne?
not. It's not my favourite poem. It certainly is one of them. It's what's known as a dawn song or an alba, a song sung by lovers on parting in the morning. My favourite poem by Donne is probably Twickenham Garden. Or the canonisation. There are too many of them. Well, actually, when I go to try and strip one out, I find it very difficult. There is one extraordinary poem which I urge you to read on your own. It's called To His Mistress and Going to Bed, which is not suitable for a 6-year studies class at the moment, but you could read it and you would enjoy it.
Good.
I'm sure.